Good afternoon and welcome to the World CIO 200 South and East Africa edition. I'm Sajda Khan, Project Manager at GEC Media Group, and I'm delighted to be your host today. Once again, with the help of industry leaders and experts, today we'll be taking a deeper dive into the IT trends and innovations in South and East Africa. But before that, let's take a quick welcome from Anushri Dixit, the Global Head of GEC Media Group.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all delegates who have joined in from different parts of the world today. It's indeed a great pleasure to welcome you all for the East and South Africa leg of the World CIO 200. As we all know, we have already done with the CIO 200 North Africa in Morocco. And last week, we were in West Africa, and we are extremely pleased to be hosting some of the leading CIOs and IT heads in the East and South Africa today. So, as we all know, currently we are in the 8th edition of the World CIO 200, and we are riding under the theme of Rise of the Power. So in this year, what we want to showcase is that as more and more CIOs are leveraging their position up to the board positions, it's very imperative that the CIOs understand the needs of the business and work as the business arm of their company rather than just being a siloed IT department. So all the conversations, all the panels, and all the speakings that you would hear throughout the day would be focused on how each and every CIO who are the representatives of the key verticals that they hail from are rising up to the power. What are the challenges that they are facing in the journey, and how they as leaders are overcoming this challenge and like rising to the power. And as we, as the famous dialogue goes, with great power comes great responsibility. We feel that it's a shared or a collective responsibility of the entire Global CIO Forum community to share this thought with the other CIOs to help each other. And the World CIO 200 is actually a perfect platform to share knowledge, to support each other, and come together to walk towards one goal. As we have been saying, together we succeed has been the riding theme of Global CIO 200. And in this year, this tagline makes more sense than ever. So, as you all know, we are touring 50 countries in 2023. And after completing the entire tour, the grand finale will be held in Baku, which will be on September 17th, 18th, and 19th. So, please do mark your calendars for that. And after completing the West, East, and South Africa, we would be shortlisting the top CIOs who would be flying with us for the grand finale in an all expense paid trip for them. So once again, we would like to congratulate all the winners who we would be awarding by the end of the show. It's indeed a great pleasure to have all of you. And yeah, we look forward to some great panel and great moderation from our CIOs in this region. Once again, thank you for joining us, and please feel free to share your feedbacks and thought with us on the chat channel, and our CIOs will be more than happy to take the questions for you. So on that note, thank you so much. We wish you a wonderful day on behalf of the Global CIO Forum. See you soon. Thank you.
Next up, we have the opening keynote presentation by Mr. George Juguna, the CIO of Safaricom PLC.
My name is George Juguna. I'm very happy to be with you as part of the Global CIO 200 Summit. I'll be speaking about the evolution of the role of the CIO. This is a bit of a tough topic, speaking to industry leaders and peers. But I just want to share some insights as I recently started lecturing at a local university in Nairobi, specifically a CIO leadership program. And it led me to do a bit of research and also a bit of self-reflection in my journey in corporate, but also as a CIO, and just to see the evolution and share a bit of thoughts on where I believe the industry should be going and what CIOs should be looking towards. I think a bit about knowing the future is also about reflecting on our past. Our history many times acts sometimes as a guiding light that just shines the way forward. So came across that the fact the word CIO, Chief Information Officer, actually came into being used in 1981. Two gentlemen, William Sinnott and William Graber, in a book, Information Resource Management, Opportunities and Strategies, came up with this term, and they defined it as a top management position uh, that was envisioned as being a corporate-wide information technology strategist. The question I pose is, does this still hold today? And we'll be discussing that a bit further. There's been a number of eras in the computer age, and I went back to the 1960s, that begin to show how this role has evolved. So even before I come to the evolution, we start by looking at the mainframe era in the 60s to 70s. And at that time, it was this big mainframe. Some of you may have worked in that. And even by the time I was entering IT, there was a centralized mainframe. I was working on an IBM ZOS environment coding on COBOL. It was really about this big centralized computer, and people would bring things to this centralized. In the 70s to 90s, we saw the distribution era and moving to decentralized computing. And for those of you who worked in banking, it was getting computers into branches, if it's in universities, even into classes and labs, and even into many different offices, just seeing not just a central computer managed by a tech team, but putting devices in the hands of end users. And of course, we know that the likes of IBM and Microsoft, Apple, and others played a very big role in getting this decentralization to pick up. In the 90s to 2000, we were in this web e-business era, and it's really kind of digital channels and just the internet and all the opportunities it had, and just moving into a lot of conversation around the browser and capabilities that were being availed for interaction as well as sales. And then looking at now this digital transformation era where we are actually radically looking at things, and of course, AI and what it brings, big data. So these are kind of been 10-year, 20-year periods that have really defined a lot of the transformation in the role that we see. They came up with kind of, in the initial stages, it was about operations. And the key thing was really about high availability. And anytime in operations, high availability is the big thing that needs to be looked at. Then moving into architecture being key, especially as you have decentralization, huge enterprise resource planning system, billing systems, core banking systems, and all likes of corporate systems, CRMs coming in. So a lot of large investment went into big implementations. And at this time, every organization was saying, how do we digitize? How do we get our operations onto computers? And execution was kind of the big key thing that people needed to focus on and ensure. And then hence the birth of Agile, because we moved from adoption, but questions began being asked: how efficient are we? How well are we executing? And so execution was key. Then we moved into the age of digital, and the CIO being the chief digital leader in the company, where now it's about DevOps, but at the same time contending with new technologies, totally throwing out any views about when the next new tech would come. They were emerging each day, and a whole rethink and starting to have software engineering embedded in IT organizations. But I believe now in the transformation era, the CIO is evolving to be a strategist, where they're not just a tech leader, but actually a business leader. It's no doubt with all the CIOs gathered here that every single industry is being disrupted by computers and IT. Whether you're in medical field, whether you're in manufacturing, legal even, you're seeing total digitization of judiciaries and CIOs in places that you never got to see. And people are starting to see that not just efficiency being important, but they can tap into new customer segments, even across borders, across industries, taking core capabilities that they've had and being able to leverage them to build new revenue lines and business models. So that's the key transformation that we're seeing, not just in the CIO role, but also seeing it in organizations. And one of the big things that we're seeing in terms of accelerators on this evolution is about five things that are very key and important. We're seeing some uncertainty in the economic environment. And so there's a need to grow new business lines. There's increase in revenues. There's navigating inflation. There's velocity and technological change. And then there's regulation that's coming in, and sometimes it's helping, but many times hindering growth and affecting our cost structures in the most unexpected ways. Partner networks and building of ecosystems, partnerships and relationships, and looking from competition to co-opetition, and seeing how people who may have been traditionally viewed as rivals can come together to develop products. And then a lot of geopolitical uncertainty. I don't need to talk about the war and what it has meant. And just seeing also new alliances coming up. And these things have been accelerators of this evolution. But if I just also look, and I've been asked at times, which of these is a CIO? Are they in operations? Are they in architecture? Are they digital? Are they strategists? You're all in one. And I think each is so important. In order for you to have credibility to do transformation, you need to have stable operations. At the same time, you need to be reviewing and modernizing your architecture so that it does give you that high availability, but allows you to be nimble and agile enough to leverage new business possibilities, to integrate new technologies, exposing APIs that enable DevOps to be much faster and cutting the cycle of releases significantly, but also revolutionizing your architecture as well as your operations. So that you begin to provide services, not just to your internal teams and operations, but also being able to do what I'd call B2B2X. I'll share a case study on what we're doing at Safaricom, called our IT mission right now, which is building open, scalable, and sellable solutions. And this is the CIO as a strategist and a business leader. Our company's vision is to transform into a purpose-led technology company. And about 6 big things, this is our CEO's actually slide. Agile transformation, building capability in terms of in-house tech experts, enhanced level of automation, digitization, getting our mobile money platform into a two-sided platform, being the #1 brand for technology solutions in big data, analytics, and CVM. But looking at how we can apply technology to simplify life and make life more convenient, linking people to people, knowledge, and opportunities. And we ask ourselves, what does that mean for us? And a couple of things came that we need to transition into more of a build versus buy. One, there's the customer obsession objective that pushes that. 2 is the business value that you get, not just by cutting costs, but adjacent revenue streams coming from IT developments, but also what's happening in terms of talent and enablement. And we realized a couple key success factors we needed to have. We need to look at IP as we're building. We need to position our organization as the top brand for software engineers, because we found ourselves losing a lot of them to big tech. And then how do we collaborate and co-create with a strong network of partners, but also have a culture where we empower our teams to not just see problems and think about getting a vendor, but actually build these solutions. And I like to say that engineers like to solve problems. And if we don't give them, they create their own problems. So we came up with this mission of building open, scalable, sellable platforms in order to deliver agile, cost-leading customer solutions, BOSS. And the B is about building. And that's now we've had to establish a software factory for our in-house development, looking at technology as a service. So frameworks, templates that can be reusable and make for shorter development time. And then looking at how we can be open in terms of having a marketplace for both internal and external capabilities that can be leveraged, being multi-tenant, having a standard integration API layer, and then modernizing our core platforms by extracting more from big monoliths into more of microservices. Scalable is important, and that required bringing in partnerships to deliver this, people who've done this before. but also getting a lot of automation and self-service, and then allowing, in some cases, white labeling of our apps so that they can be used by others much easier. But sellable is the most difficult one in terms of activating a pre-sales team, commercializing existing services like our QMS, our chatbot, our touchpoint NPS, our internal kind of equivalent of a Salesforce system in terms of lead to order, order to cash, that we call Falcon, and also mobile apps. And we've seen a lot of success in getting financial services, insurance companies, and other telcos, especially in our group, taking capabilities. And this is a different level because this brings new revenue. You start talking about this is made not in China or in India or the US, but this is made in Kenya. And the pride that it brings to our engineers to see other people using capabilities they've developed. But getting to this requires a B2B mindset. So there's a customer obsession. There's open source really as a key component that helps you to contribute to the development of technology and also save costs, but also commercialization and partnership. And most important, talent. So constantly advancing our tech skills and building expertise in key domains. I'm quite excited about this journey. I'm looking forward to hearing from more of you CIOs on what you're doing. But I believe the future of the CIO role is not somebody who's always taking instructions and doing operations, but somebody who's building new revenue pipelines and revenue streams for their business as technology takes front and center of every single business on the globe. Thank you so much for your time.
Now we have a panel discussion titled CIO Leadership Panel, The Rise of the Power, moderated by Mr. Amit Saxena, CIO of Ramco Group, Kenya.
Good afternoon, everyone. And it's really a pleasure for me to welcoming all the panelist members in our today's session. And we are trying our best to make this session more insightful and interesting. And it's really pleasure for me to welcoming all of you in this session. So I would like to welcome one by one to each panelist. So I would like to warm welcome Mr. Warren first. And my next panelist is Mr. Rono. Mr. Rono.
Hi.
Hi, okay. And the third, Miss Iswilla.
Hello.
And the last, Dr. Makembo. So it's a warm welcome. It's warm welcome once again to all of you. And really pleasure for me to hosting to all of you in that session. And quickly, I just want to discuss, in terms of, this is the theme which we are planning for, how the CIO have a challenging environment nowadays. Okay, and therefore we are trying to cover up, the sharp, our discussion in terms of, how we are ready, during this competitive environment, that as a CIO, what is our responsibility for the business and how we can align that, the discussion point, like how we are ready with the new technology, how we are ready with the business priority, how we are upgrading ourselves based on the market demand as well as the new technology same time. And that we have to discuss one by one to all of you. So my first question to Mr. Barron, okay, and the question is here, like is the IT leader as a CIO, that how we are agile and how we are ready to adopt the new technology and new change in the business. So I would like to understand your brief about this topic.
No, thank you very much, Amit. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. I am Warren. I'm the Chief Information Officer of Weber Wenzel, large African law firm. My perspective, Amit, is about understanding the nature of disruption, but then also understanding the medicine, for that disruption. And so, when I think about disruption, I think about that VUCA acronym: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And simultaneously, when I think about the acronym, I think about the medicine for the acronym. And so when I think about the V for me is about vision, the U is about understanding, the C is about clarity, and the A is about agility. And it starts with developing an understanding of your market, starts with developing an understanding of your customers, starts with an understanding of your business, and then being able to put those together in a vision. It's based on the approach of human-centered design thinking, putting the humans at the center of the process. So my perspective is, this day, technology can almost do everything. But this ability to apply human-centered design thinking and fundamentally to develop new capabilities is the thing that then creates new results for organizations. But you then have to almost draw that line between vision and understanding and vision to create a common ground both within the enterprise and as well as within the enterprise about the ecosystem, and then think about what technology is appropriate to use.
Yeah, perfect, Varen. I think it's a really great answer. I can say that. Okay, and it's covering all the points here. So thank you very much for your response. And I'm going to my second question, and I think it's more interesting for the roadmap and the planning and the strategy thinking about that. So I'm going to speak to Mr. Rono in regarding that. What is your thinking in terms of the long-term planning, road mapping, and strategy based on this competitive environment now? Okay, and how you think that CIO is having creating a proper framework for the business? So what is your view on this question?
Thank you, Amit, and good afternoon, everybody from Nairobi, Kenya. So I'm the CIO of the largest tea packaging company in Kenya. Of course, we all appreciate that good tea comes from Kenya, and I'm happy to be part of the tea value chain. Working with Ketepa means I work with over 700,000 farmers all across the country and all looking at a very important crop around tea. Amit, to really answer your question, is my role as a CEO, as a CIO, has evolved. And I would normally say that the I in CIO used to stand for information, but largely that has transformed into more of innovation. The entities and the companies we work with look up to us for technology direction. But largely, I think the million-dollar task here for many CIOs would be how you're visionary enough to align companies' objectives to your IT strategy. Largely, we are a support division, but we no longer just do support. We're really business drivers. Whether you're rolling out a new business intelligence tool to drive your top line, or you're driving innovation to be more competitive and drive a more healthy bottom line, our role has completely transformed, and many C-suite executives and the board is looking up to CIOs to provide the vision. You must provide a clear roadmap. Most importantly, then you have to have a deep understanding of what technology does. And this takes a lot of research, a lot of experience, and most importantly, being in forums such as the Global CIO Summits, and so that then you know what technology works, what technology has been replicated, what technology is obsolete, and so that you may be driving a very good vehicle, but it really isn't the best out there. And so the role of a CIO has completely evolved, and we are alive to the fact that more and more entities now look up to us for that strategic vision from a technology front to support the objectives any company has, Amit.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Rono. And I think it's really great because we have to ready and we have to agile in terms of, changing the new technology and adopt the new change as well as a CIO. So we all are responsible in terms of, start moving on the business, and we have to give the right direction with the help of the technology to the business so that we have to grow as a one team. So really great response, Rono. And now I'm going to Isabella to ask the third question. And third is again, it's a very important focus area, like how we can upgrade ourselves with the new learning environment. As a CIO, we have to take a, learning always on and understand the new technology, and we have to map the technology with the right solution for the business. So my question to Isabella that how we can upgrade ourselves, how we can adopt the new technology, and how we can switch on the learning skill for this competitive environment. So over to you, Isabella.
Thank you. And I want to say I work for a telecommunication industry in Kenya. Became a leader like a year ago. So I'm equally evolving myself. But just to answer your question, I believe, first of all, before you come to transform the business, as a person, you have to continually evolve yourself. You have to keep abreast of new technologies. You have to do this networking. So like Ronald said, you might be driving a car thinking it's the best, but really it's not the best out there. So as you do this networking, you get to learn about new technologies, because really as a leader, people look up to you for new technologies to simplify things. For example, if we use like the traditional email systems people were using, we stopped using that. People have gone to cloud. What are you offering? Where am I going to the cloud? You must be able to equally demonstrate to them that there are new technologies here and they offer 1, 2, 3 that we didn't have before. So apart from that also, you have to keep learning. I mean, you as a leader, you have to look at where do we have these risks? How can we break this risk? What if you have to do a business? What if this and that happens today? What are we going to do tomorrow? What if we were attacked today? Are we prepared for this kind of risk? So I believe as a leader, you should be prepared all the time. And when you're a technology leader, people look up to you. For example, we have a malware attack today. So what are we going to do as a leader? Then you must be ready. You must be, and for you to be ready, you must always do your research. I mean, that when you have an issue, then now you go to do the research. I believe you should always keep researching on these issues, look at technologies, what other people are doing out there, so that you can always learn what is best out there. For example, even if, let's say, again, you have a cloud solution today, and it's a Microsoft cloud solution. There are other partners, AWS, there's Google. You must always look at them. What is here? What is not there? Why is this one the best? And of course, propose the best that is out there. So that's what I believe.
Thank you, Isabella. I think it's a really great answer. And to adding here, I think continuous learning is really, it's a part of our goal sheet as a deployment plan as well. And as you mentioned that, in terms of looking on the cloud, looking on the cybersecurity, looking on all the aspect of the CIO, I think we have to focus across, all the area. And I think we have to continue learning in through the webinar and all the event management as well, because this is also giving a learning platform. Okay. So this is really a great, platform where we have to learn ourselves and we have to upgrade with the new technology as well. So again, it's a great answer. And now I'm going to Dr. Makamba. And Dr. Makamba, I just have one question to you, like based on your experience, and I think you have a great exposure in the technology side as well. So I just want to understand again in the agile methodology, like how flexible we are ready to adopt the new technology and new idea. The same like innovation environment, like where we have a new, every day there is a new technology coming in the market. So how we are flexible, how we can adopt the technology, and how we can map this technology with the business need. So I'm just looking forward to your answer and your focus area, that how you're thinking on that direction.
Thank you so much, Amit, and good afternoon once again, colleagues. Amit, you are asking a very interesting question. As you would know that we are living in the digital era, a 4IR era. Now it came as a disruptor on everything that we know. So now it's challenging our mindset on how we do things. And it forces many organizations to adapt, especially if we want to be at the forefront of the global economy and also want to be a forefront of the digital era itself. So we need not to be left behind. That requires flexibility and agility. What does it mean by that? How do we become adaptable? How do we become agile into these particular things? There are different technologies that are coming to front. Now, as people, as CIOs and everyone that is involved in the technological era needs to understand that adaptability to this technology is very crucial. This will eliminate the misnomer where people, they think that technology is here to take away people's job. Thus, it is very important and imperative that we need to keep upskilling and reskilling and align ourselves with the digital era so that we are not left behind, and also to see the benefits of these technologies and what can we use in order to provide ourselves with a sufficient income, especially looking at the SMMEs, looking at those new starting up businesses. How can they tap into the technological technical space and make sure they reach the broader level of the audience. So this is now the time where we need to be flexible enough, we need to be adaptable enough, and eliminate the fear and see the technology as an enabler that it is. And actually, it is actually an equalizer that it disrupts everything that we said. Technical field is a field where men is dominating, but now we say women, we have a space. We can come up front and own the space because we can do anything and develop application wherever we are. So I always say that it is always the time like this where now we have to be at the forefront as females, but not only as females, but as a continent itself, to make sure that we use these technologies. Thus, it is required and very important for us to know what are the policies that are guiding these technologies and how can we align ourselves, and most importantly, to look at the benefit more than the risk of the technologies that they are presenting. Let me pause in there, Ameta. Thank you so much for the question.
Excellent response, and I think it's very sharp in terms of covering all the point in a very, very short period. So I think the flexibility is the key. I think we have to have a very flexible, to adopt the new change, new technology, and start, to adopting the same way. So thank you, Dr. Makamba. Thank you very much. And now I'm going back to Varen. Okay, and Varen, to question again, I'm just thinking, in terms of the change management. And when I'm talking about adopting, when I'm talking about influencing the management and influencing to the CIO leader, like how we can make sure that the change management is also following in the same process. And in terms of the change management, when I'm talking about change management, like in terms of adopting the new process, adopting the new technology, how we can make sure that all the team coming together and they're ready to take this new change. So again, I need your insightful comment on this point. Like, how do you think about that? How we can adopt that change management as well?
Yes, thank you, Amit. I think I always think about an analogy, right? When you have a car race and the cars are racing next to each other, it's easy for them often to stay next to each other. But the minute you get into a turn, that's often when you see, differently skilled drivers being able to take the lead. So in that analogy, I think about how you win in turns. And how you win in the turns, based on some current research, is about alignment, is about anticipation, and about adaptability. So when you think about these aspects, all of these aspects are built around new organizational capability. And so how do I think of organizational capability? And then there's this formula, and as we used to do in algebra, you deal with the brackets first, and what is in brackets? Mindset plus practices. And so yes, you can have the right mindset, but what practices, what disciplines do you bring to those practices? And so when we think in this regard about change management, it is about how do we make sure that we create the skill within the organization at the leadership level and at all levels of the organization for individuals to appreciate the contribution that they can make in terms of the change management discipline, to the mindset. And of course, all of this is enabled by technology. And so thinking about our technology platforms, the ability to almost what I call have an architectural approach. And that architectural approach is about having a set of principles that both align to the organization's strategy and business model. And in aligning to those principles, the ability for us to understand what to do, but more importantly, what not to do, gives us the ability, therefore, to prioritize our actions and to remain focused. Because I think, in my perspective, focus is the hidden driver of success, because in that focus, we can bring prioritization. And because of that focus, we can then make sure that we apply our human capital to the right practices to then create the right mindset.
Thank you, Varen. Thanks a lot again. And I think the discipline and the flexibility again is the key changer for the change management, because we have to more flexible, and that the discipline again is important to adopt the change management quickly. So great response. And now I'm going back to Rono. And Rono, again, the question to you, like as a CIO, which I asked earlier, the question like how we can upgrade ourselves with the new technology. I think the same question is applied down the line team as well, because CIO is also responsible for the IT team, for digital team, for the end user, all the entire 360-degree framework. So therefore, what is your strategy? What do you think about that? How we can give the room to the team that they have to upgrade themselves, and what is the takeaway in terms of to upgrade your IT team as well as the business team, where you feel that technology will play a major role. So I need to understand your view also on this area.
Thanks, Amit. We have an old African proverb that says that if you want to walk faster, walk alone. But if you want to go far, walk with someone. I take a lot of learnings from that because as a CIO, you of course work with a team. And it is very important for business continuity, for the future, for posterity. You always must be able to work with a stronger team, because if there's anything that COVID taught us, was that someday an entire department is likely to be taken ill. And it is very important that then the silos are desiloed, and entities and departments, and particularly technology division, must work more as one. And it's very important that, as Isabella mentioned, that continuous learning is important. One of the things we've done post-COVID was, of course, to make sure that we have a sizable budget for training, not just training, but R&D. And it's very important that we also realign on what is of priority. Without adequate information around technology, you could easily be amassed with a lot of information, and you may not be able to craft a workable strategy, because then you probably have a team that is not skilled enough, or you have a team that haven't upscaled their skills. And therefore, that really affects the change management process. 4 things, Amit, that comes into mind when I think about the disruption that comes with technology. Culture is important. Continuous learning is extremely important. Of course, as CIOs, we are tasked with convincing the C-suite managers this is the right technology investment, if I may say. But most importantly, it's to be able to get a buy-in. An employee's input is very important in a change process. We normally say that CIOs, by nature, by virtue of their jobs, are really project managers. And one of the key things that I learned long ago was to make sure that every team member is actually certified in project management, because then it makes issues around project handling very easy, very seamless. And you're also able to monitor whether the investments you're putting into a course is paying off. And for me, those forms very key pillars towards the success of this role, Amit.
Great. I think it's really great answer. And you are right, absolutely right. Like in terms of the budgeting, in terms of the planning, is really important to upgrade your team member and to upgrade the business team as well, because the technology is really important for each and every team member. And again, as a team, we have to win the game. Individually, it's not easy to manage. So the teamwork, overall, it's a teamwork, no doubt at all. So now I'm going back to Isabella again. And my question to Isabella, in terms of the new technology and the adoption. Okay, so what is your thinking in terms of how we can quickly adopt the new technology? And adoption is not only for the IT team, adoption across the business team. How you can bring all the business team to adopt and to start using the new technology, like nowadays chatbot and like AI-based application, and even now the analytics-based decision making is also coming, is a very critical aspect for the business. So how do you think about that, and how you make a plan to adopt quickly and start using for the business case as well? So please share your view on this.
My perspective is for technology, first of all, to be adopted and accepted. I know people are resistant to change, but then first of all, whatever technology you want to propose, it must align to the business goals and strategies, of course. So that's number one. And then if you want to make people adopt a new technology, you must present the value to them, because to them is, why do I need to adopt this technology. So it's all about a business case, presenting your business case, and also demonstrating that this technology is going to solve a certain problem, because you can't just propose a technology that is just there because it's a new technology. Because again, different environments will require different technologies. For example, where I work, which is a telecommunication industry, and where Rono works, there are two different industries. So this technology, it must conform to the business need. It must solve a certain problem. So first of all, to make people adopt it, present the problem to them, and then present the technology to them, and then show them how that technology is going to solve that problem, so that way they're able to see that value.
And I think the point which you highlighted is more alignment area. So alignment is very, very important in terms of the end user and the business team. And IT definitely have to play a major role in between to align in the right solutions, right technology, and the right fitment as well. So perfectly, I think it's the alignment area where we have to align and we have to understand the adaptability as well. So now I'm going back to Makamba, Dr. Makamba, and I think again I have a very interesting question in my mind, like how technology and the business priority, they have to combine each other and they have to link each other, because it's not like we are working as a silo. Like technology have a different priority and business have a different priority. So my question is, again, this is again is a very challenging area for each and every organization, that they have to make sure that the technology and the business priority, they have to match together and they have to make a one plan for a company level, and that plan have to go to execute as a team. So how do you think about that? How we can merge together and make a proper planning where we have a clear vision of the business priority and we have a clear vision of the technology side. So how do you think that how we can merge together, and how do you think that this will come together, and we have to make sure that this planning is going for the long-term perspective? So I need your thought on this, please.
You will realize that we are in the 4IR era. Now, this is an era where we need to communicate, we need to collaborate as business leaders and also as technology leaders, because technology as an enabler, it will make the business to flourish and thrive. Now, it is a time whereby we get the business mindset and technology mindset in one room and say the silo mentality, it does not work, but how do we come together to move forward, and also to check what type of technology can we use in the specific business in order for it to flourish. Then it triggers the mind in a lot of people that we don't have the technical skills. And I like the 4IR era because now it enables us to learn the short courses that we can do, and also to actually upgrade ourselves, to say, this is what I need to learn, and this is how the technology can do other things. You would look at the processing and the automation process. Then you would look how technology does that in a very quick way compared to when you actually do it as a normal human being. Where does that leave people? It is now where the point of upskilling and reskilling of people is essential, and put it at the forefront of human capital development. So now it is a time whereby every business requires each and every type of 4IR or emerging technologies, and now they need to understand that those technologies are here to present some hope. And also, when you look at the different types of businesses that are flourishing, and you look at, for example, the looks of AI, where it's a cross-cutting technology, and it goes across the different sectors. And then now you look how people actually benefit from that particular use of AI. So now a lot of business people are coming into hand saying that we need more technology, we need more collaboration with the technical leaders, we need to work together to eliminate that, and also to process. Now it takes the vision of the organization more forward and fast forward it in a way that will benefit actually the country itself and also the owners of the business. But not only that, but looking at the continental point of view, that how do we move? And also, Amit, it comes to the point whereby we say, how do we use technology that is actually locally manufactured? So how do we take that and say, this is what we produced in a way that will understand us in our own indigenous languages, and say, we take this and we're making it sure we're going forward. And in collaboration, there is so much that we can do. Let me stop in there. Just highlighting that also in South Africa, there's something that we have done, which is the presidential 4IR commissioners have produced the 4IR report, and also have highlighted a lot of things that needs to be done, which are recommendations. Now you would look also, they've done the AI Institute as well, that has already been established. And now you look at different organizations coming into TAP and say, we need to learn more about this AI. How do we use this AI in the healthcare sector? How do we use the AI in the agricultural sector, also in the manufacturing sector? And now that everyone is coming in together, understanding the benefits and the power of technology to dismantle the problems that we have in the African continent. Thank you so much, Amit.
Thank you, Makamba. And I think it's a very insightful highlight from your side. Like again, as you mentioned, that the moment we understand the benefit, the moment we have a proper alignment, and the moment we have a clear vision on that, that technology and the business priority, I think that success definitely you have to come on that direction. So thank you very much. And I think now I have to ask Baron again the last question in terms of the change management and the adoption again. So that again, I'm just asking a very clear vision, like what is your strategy in terms of a clear mindset approach, that how we can adopt the new change management in with help of the technology, okay, and how fast we can adopt in our business environment. And even now it's a very challenging environment as well, because the technology and the business, they have to drive in the same way. So what do you think about that side, Baron?
The rate of change in any organization has so many dependencies, and I always think about four aspects. What you measure, because depending on what you measure, that measurement creates rewards. And so how do we make sure that we balance the short-term reward as well as long-term gain? And so that ability to balance those short-term, medium-term, long-term measures becomes, really important. And that ability to understand where we anticipate the future profits will come from becomes important. What we reward, so that ability to understand that down payments on the future is about education, it's about research, but more importantly, how that education and research is applied in the ecosystem. Because I think as organizations, we can no longer have a perspective that it is just about profits, right? But I think it's also about impact. It is also about significance for the people that work for us. And then what we fail to imagine, right? This ability to appreciate what future possibilities there are, and in considering what those future possibilities are, what knowledge should we then develop in order to be able to take advantage of those, future possibilities. And then the last aspect is about how we view time. And for me, there are two perspectives. First of all, about seeing ourselves as descendants. And so that ability to understand our history, and in the context of our history, to appreciate our future becomes important. But then I think the fundamental thing that helps us act in context is to consider how we become and how we remain, both as individuals and organizations, how we remain and how we become good ancestors.
Great. Thank you, Varen. Thanks a lot, I think. And as you rightly mentioned that, the adaptability and the change management is always important in terms of thinking power and the mindset approach as well. So now I'm going back to Rono. And Rono, to question to you, like, the change management and in terms of the adoption, and when we are going for influencing to the leader, now how we can build a proper relationship as well. Because that is again an important area. Like, we have to build a strong relationship with the stakeholder management. And same time, the moment we have a strong relationship, then we can adopt the technology in a fast manner. So what do you think about that? And how do you feel that this challenging environment, like, how we can go in a proper approaching manner and make sure that this is going in the right approach, right relationship, and right direction, so that we can achieve the proper result as a one team for the business. So I need your view in terms of how you can think about that.
Amit, you're quite spot on. And I would say the role of the CIO, apart from being a technology driver, an innovation driver, a business thinker, a CIO is also a relationship manager. At any given time, you're either managing vendors, you're managing a project, you're managing stakeholders that are as high as the board or the C-suite. And rule of thumb for me has been the value proposition for any project. A case in point, 3 years ago, or rather 4 years ago, we embarked on a massive Salesforce automation project where we're moving away from a lot of paperwork to a completely paperless ordering system, digitized the entire Salesforce with apps and running on a cloud application. Now, if such a project isn't handled very well in terms of managing the relationships, Amit, I would say that the project is a sure fail. Because the success of any project requires very strong stakeholder engagements and right from inception. So if a project is, say, aimed at cost cutting, there's going to be a leaner workforce. You don't beam the project as a cost-cutting initiative, but you really talk about the efficiency that this system will bring. So we beam the technology as an enabler, and you have to be high on value. What value proposition are you bringing on board? Because then a weak relationship management, weak vendor management ultimately affects a project, and a project that would have otherwise delivered good value ends up failing. It's costly to the organization. It's costly to you as a CIO. And again, you take a lot of time to do, again, very little. So relationship management in the role of a CIO is extremely important, because then you're the communication in chief. You have to talk about very big technology jargons. My good friend, Dr. Makazwe, talked about 4IR. If you talk about the fourth industrial revolution technologies in a boardroom, if you don't simplify it, then you really lose your stakeholders. And they could be the stakeholders that holds the budget. And so it's a delicate balance, but I would say that the role of a CIO has to be a very good communicator. You have to manage vendors and relationships, because then this sits at the heart of the success of any innovation that you could ever think of. Amit.
Great. I think you are highlighting with a very sharp and focus area like stakeholder management is very important, and I think the communication and relationship really it's a very very important area to successful of any project. Okay, and that is the first point where you have to interact with the stakeholder and giving the clear direction of the project and the output. So this relationship is really a key area, key focus area, and then we have to make sure that we have a proper relationship with each and every stakeholder for any project on that. So now I'm going back to Isabella, and my last question to Isabella. In terms of the emotion and how we can control our emotion when we are not able to make successful in terms of our adoption and influencing. Like it's happened many times, from each and every CIO, like whenever they have to go and start driving some initiative, and then there are some resistance coming from the ground and from the team. How you make a balance yourself in your feeling and your adoption on the ground. So what do you think, and what is you are handling such type of challenge in your day-to-day operation as well? So I need your view on this, please.
Thank you. I think emotional intelligence is very important. It's key, because without it, you wouldn't be able to effectively make difficult decisions. As a technology leader, there are times when you're required to make very difficult decisions, and that requires you to, think critically. Critical thinking will be very important. And not to mention that, as Ronald said, business relationships are very important. So without emotional intelligence, you wouldn't be able to effectively communicate and collaborate with other people. And also, I believe with emotional intelligence will help you to adapt easily to evolving business needs. So I believe it's very key. Without it, you're doomed to fail, definitely.
Thank you, Isabella. Thanks a lot. And yeah, you're right, because you have to make a balance in terms of between your emotional intelligence and your adoption and on the ground, because sometimes you have to control your feeling and to make sure that we have to manage our emotion properly, and then only you have to drive in the right manner as well. So thank you very much. And now I'm going to my last question to Dr. Makamba. In terms of again I'm going back to relationship question, because again relationship and stakeholder management is again it's very very critical and important. And this area I think you have to more focus in terms of this relationship, how to bring the business also on the same platform, like wherever you have to make sure that we have a proper stakeholder management and relationship with the each and every team member. And at the same time, the technology will also going to adopt, in this area. So this is, again, is a challenging environment, okay, where we have to think about that how we can come out from this challenge and how we can bring all the team member on the same page, because there are different mindset, there are different approach toward each and every team member. But whenever you are working as a one project, a one initiative, you would like to bring all the team member, all the stakeholder in one room. So again, this is really a challenging for all the CIO. Okay. So therefore, Dr. Makam, I just want to understand your view in terms of what is your strategy, what is your roadmap, what is your planning, how to execute this thing, and how do you think that this is simplify and this we can make it more easiest way to bring all the team member in one page and one room.
Absolutely, Amit. Amit, I think this is most closely related to what Bernard Rono was mentioning in the that you can have quite a lot of number of people in the same room and very important stakeholders. But if you don't cascade it down and simplify the technology that you are using, it's easy to lose them in the track, because remember, some of them, they're not specializing in computer science like most of us does. So now when you go into them and then you need to specify what kind of technology is this, how is it going to help a business in terms of the security, because people are very scared and how this technology going to be secured. How do we make sure that it's secured enough? Also, not only in the training of people, workshopping people to understand, coming together to get the thorough understanding, and also doing the awareness of these emerging technologies. When we're doing the awareness to people, then they come to a realization that, oh, this is how this technology can work. This is how it can actually assist us. And also to those that they don't understand the technical jargon, they can be understand and analyze this technology. They start to see the benefit and the opportunities presented by this. So now when it comes to stakeholder management and also having a team management as well, it works better when you train the people, make sure that they do is self-development as well when it comes to this technology. Amit, you remind me of the meeting that we had with my team. You'll notice that we're all specializing in a different case, and I'm more on the computer science side of you, and also some of them they are from the biological side of you, and also other things. But now when it comes to discussing about the technology, you will see that they're bit of sitting in the back, that we don't understand this technology. What are you talking about? Now that's why you say this is the digital era. This is a time where you need to learn. You need to do those short courses. That is why when it comes to training of an individual in the organization, making sure that everyone is aligned, then it will create the appetite and make sure that the stakeholders, they do at least understand, run the workshop, run the think tank, and then make sure that how are they actually assess their understanding when it comes to this technology. Then after, you come together and say, how do we move forward? These are the opportunities. Are we together? Do we all understand? And then you will see the interest, because in quite honestly, no one is one to be left behind. But then when they come to the boardroom and then you're discussing about the AI, the blockchain, the cybersecurity, and all sort of those 4IR technologies, it's easy to lose them in a track. But then when you cascade it down and take it down to the grassroots level and also analyze the impact of this and also try to actually upgrade this, this is also the upgrade of the department. And then this is how we upgrade the department. As a CIO, it is very important that we make sure we upgrade our people, especially in the organization, both in those business leaders and also the executives as well, get to understand that now we are here. How do we move forward? So it is very critical for us to make sure that we do the workshops. We make sure that we enable our people to do the short courses to get the thorough understanding of what are these emerging technologies, and also understand that we need to actually make sure that people they get to read about different things that are happening across the globe when it comes to these emerging technologies, and how is it impacting people at general, and how can we learn, what are the things that we can learn to make Africa at the forefront, to make sure that over the past few three revolution we were left behind, but now we're saying we are taking a stand. We don't want to be left behind. And how do we do that? We need to work together. We need to make sure that we have the upskilling, the human capital development comes first when it comes to the revolution that we are in. So we need to make sure that the stakeholder understand, the business and the people understand, and also the collaboration comes together. But most importantly, creating the awareness, even to the person who has never been into school but need to understand in the language or in the way that they will relate when it comes to this technology. Thank you so much, Amit.
Thank you, Akamba. Thank you once again. And I think really grateful discussion. And I think collaboration and that teamwork is really, really important for to bring all the people in the same page, same room, and same agenda, because that is very, very important to drive the common vision for the company. And I really appreciate to all of you. I think the answer was super and excited, to making more insightful discussion. And overall, the session was super, and really thankful to each one of you for making this session more insightful. And I personally thankful to Mr. Warren, Mr. Rono, Ms. Isabella, and Dr. Makamba. Thank you very much for your time. And I think it's a great, great discussion. And all the very best to all of you, and have a nice weekend. Enjoy your weekend and lovely day. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, colleagues. Bye.
Bye.
It's finally time for the most awaited part of the event, the CIO Awards, which highlight and celebrate IT leadership around the world. First up, we have the Next Gen category, in which the first and only winner is Miss Esther Adam from BRAC International. Next up, moving on to the leader category, we have Moses Atonga from NVS Kenya. The next winner in the leader category is Dominic Cabanai, ABM Group. The last winner for the leader category is Gilbert Mutai from Car and Judd. Moving on to the master category, our first winner is Girish Bihari, Constance Hospitality Management Limited. Next up in the master category, we have George Juguna from Safaricom PLC. The next winner in the master category is Bernard Rono from Kenya Tea Packers Limited. The last winner in the master category is Kamotso Mantu from SIDA. We're moving on to the legend category. The first winner in the legend category is none other than our moderator for the day, Mr. Amit Saxena from Ramco Group Kenya. Next winner in the legend category is Amare Asefa Herpi from Commercial Bank of Ethiopia. Next winner in the legend category is James Nyakomita from APA Insurance. Next up in the legend category is Isaac Mwangi from Unga Holding Limited. Next up in the legend category is Martin Mwarangu from Kenya Tea Development Agency Holdings Limited. Next we have Tom Upio from Unilever. The next winner in the legend category is Warren Hero from Weber Wenzel. Next up we have Samantha Chabata from Botswana Housing Corporation. Next winner is Dan Kamai from Kenya Electricity Generating Company PLC. Before signing off, we have two special messages for the delegates viewing this event from the co-founder of CAS, Venkatesh Mahadevan, and the Chief Research Officer of CAS as well, Jayakumar Manochandran.
My dear friends, greetings from the US of A. It gives me great pleasure to speak to all of you, and I hope all of you can see me. So this is Venki Mahadevan, and I am here to talk to you about CAS. If some of you are still wondering what CAS is, CAS stands for CIO as a Service, of which we all are an integral part. When I say we, I don't mean me and they. I mean we, you and me, all of us in this room and outside of it, in the different regions. If you recollect, about a year back, or was it October, we launched CAS at the exotic location in Bangkok, when all of us had so much fun and we went on stage and spoke about CAS. We had some great feedback. We launched a platform, and as we speak today, the platform is ready to enroll all of us. So if we talk about CAS, and if you ask me what does CAS do, CAS is a technology revolutionary platform that has been formed with the purpose of delivering technology-enabled solutions at a better price, great quality, by the subject matter experts themselves. Who are the subject matter experts? You and me, my dear friends. Yes, it's you and me. These are CIOs, or we are CIOs who have spent our life 10, 15, 20 years working for large corporations and have implemented excellent solutions. So it's time for us now to take out our ammunition, use the same for delivering effective solutions to our clients. I'm so excited to talk to you about CAS because when we started, we were in so many minds and saying, will this work? Will this not work? So many of you in the room had questions about what do we do next? How does it go forward from here? And as we stand here today, I am very, very delighted to let you know that CAS has moved on, and we have not only done some good work in the UAE, but we are also doing some great work with some of you in Egypt. We just formed an office in Saudi Arabia of CAS. You're right. CAS Saudi Arabia was launched a fortnight ago, and thanks to my friend Meheneshi and the others who supported us. So it's been a great journey. We are now looking at doing some work in Qatar. We are looking at talking to some partners in India. And I am right now in the US, and we're speaking to somebody who will bring CAS to the US very soon. So there you go. We are already talking of 3 continents, 5 different countries, and some really exciting work that's on the forerun. So please join me and support this platform. Let's all get together and make sure that we actually make CAS happen. It is good for you, it is good for me, it is good for the community. The idea is to build an ecosystem that can take us to the next level. It is no longer about you as an individual, it's about all of us. We are talking to some great partners who have shown interest. They've already told us, let us know and we will be on board. So I am, like other friends of mine, a very proud member of CAS, and I will continue to be. Let's take CAS to the next level and make it one of the most revolutionary platforms that the world has ever seen. So welcome to CAS, and here we go. Fasten your seatbelts and let's have fun, my dear friends. See you soon when we meet next time. Bye-bye.
Hello friends, today I'm here to introduce you RAS, which is nothing other than Research as a Service. So I'm sure that you are all very familiar with CAS, which is CIO as a Service, and we were all very excited to be a part of that. So RAS is nothing other than research division of CAS, and what it does is we create content which is fueled by experts for the experts. So how we work, we have various different models. We work directly with end customers. We work with partners to find out what their end customers really need out of any particular product or service. We also work with major principals to analyze their market sentiments, the go-to-market strategy, feedback about any of the product or services, so on and so forth. And how it differentiates, it's because you and me are a part of that. We are the ones who will be driving this research rather than any generic crowd who will be doing or who will be a part of this research. So basically, there will be vertical heads. We'll have CIOs or technology leaders who is ranging from every single industry that we talk about. And we'll have project managers who will be coordinating these researches based on the requirements. And we'll have analysts who will be writing the white papers, preparing and collecting the data points and preparing the outputs and the reports based on the research, what we do. So that's something which is very, very exciting. And we look forward to have a complete experimental and simulated data collection model by using automated tools and processes by which our data collection will happen across different levels of the industry. We offer complimentary support for all our customers who come to RAS, and there will be a single point of contact for all the research or market strategies. We have a very focused approach. We have special interest groups that focused on each industry, and basically to ensure that the content what we create will be more precise. We also have a well-architected framework by which the industry standard research contents are created based on the customer needs that helps for immediate consumption. So that's it all about RAS. My dear friends, here we go, and welcome you all to RAS. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for joining us for this edition of World CIO 200, and hope to see you next time. Bye.